I'm Ruth Graham, and I am delighted to talk about living free and the relationship that I have with them. It's been a number of years, I would say at least 10 or 12 years, that I have known about and been associated with them and been honored to be associated with them. I began to understand living free when I was doing Ruth Graham and Friends conferences, and we would go to churches and I had pastors and counselors and experts that went and talked about life controlling issues, as Living Free likes to call them. I call them the underbelly of the church: pornography, abuse, anger, divorce, those kinds of issues that the church does not like to talk about. So we would go into a church and we would have seminars on these subjects, but then we would go home. And my director at the time, Tex Reardon, said, Ruth, we need a follow-up for these people. We're just going home and they don't have any follow-up. And so he began to research and he discovered Living Free, and he went to visit down in Chattanooga. And he called me so excited. He said, Ruth, this is exactly what we need. And so we became involved with Living Free, and they did become our follow-up material. And I have since been to their conference. I have spoken for them. I have been around their people and just have fallen in love with what they do. It's a Bible-based, Christ-centered ministry. And unlike other recovery groups, that sit around, and their support groups, which are fine, but this is a Bible study. This deals with pornography from a biblical point of view. This deals with divorce from a biblical point of view. This deals with abuse and anger from a biblical point of view. And that's what's so valuable, because, you know, the Word of God is our rule and authority. So I was delighted to learn about Living Free and asked them to partner with us, which they did. And I was just thrilled. And I started Ruth Graham and Friends because I myself had some life controlling issues. And it was very difficult. There wasn't anybody to talk to. And especially being Ruth Graham, you can only imagine, there were not many people who would understand my life controlling issues. And I had an issue with security. And that's, of course, you wouldn't say that's not life controlling issue, but for me it was, because as a little girl, I wanted a daddy to rock me at night. I wanted him to teach me to ride a bicycle. I wanted him to be home, and my father wasn't. And when I needed him the most, he seemed to be the farthest away. And I became very insecure. Now, I would have told you, if you asked me, where is your security? I would have said, oh, Jesus is my security. That was the right answer. But it really wasn't true deep down where the secrets are kept. And it wasn't until after my fourth failed marriage that I discovered that I needed to deal with it. And I was talking to a friend, actually in Nashville, Tennessee, and he looked at me, he said, Ruth, you felt abandoned as a little girl. And I said, no, that's not true. But tears welled up in my eyes, and I knew that he had hit a nerve. And once I discovered that abandonment was causing this insecurity, that piece of the puzzle fit. And I was able to deal with the issue. And that's what Living Free helps people do, to deal with their issues from a loving, Christ-like, biblically based basis. And I just think that they are wonderful, and I would encourage everyone to be involved.